Hello everyone, and welcome to today's Blender livestream. Now, as you can see, the sample sound frequencies node is now inside of Blender 5.2 natively, which is amazing. We can now just sample sounds, and it works. I'm just gonna mute this because it might be distracting hearing it 500 times. But this is a very powerful node, and if you want this little demo I have right here, it's up on my Gumroad page. So, let's take a look and see what I can do, and I have some other Blender branches I want to go over because there's cool stuff with Eevee coming through, and the scene time node is progressing. That is a whole story in and of itself. But for now, let's take a look at the sample sound frequencies node. So this setup, it just uses the sample sound frequencies and the frequency bins thing that Jax had. I had to modify it a bit to work with floats, so that you could go and get the kind of spectrogram effect. So it just uses a bit of stuff, get the UV map, offset the time range, and then get the frequency bins, put them into there, do all that, and it's all good. The one caveat with this setup is that the sound input right here does not work in the modifier, which I assume that'll be fixed extremely quickly. But I just need to have the GeoNode group inside of another container for it to work properly. So again, this setup is up on Gumroad. As soon as that little part is fixed, it'll just be a modifier, and then you can use, well, a modifier or a GeoNode, either or, and you'll be able to use it wherever you want. But yeah, just a little thing to get you started on that, and that is very, very cool. I have some plans for this today, which we will get to, but before we get too deep into everything, hopefully, let's see, is it too early to go over the other Blender branches I've been playing around with? Yeah, might be a bit early, but let's go and do it anyway, so that we can get to back to the sound frequency node soon enough. So, I'm just going to go and boot up two other builds. So this first one is going to, which ones should I do first? Let's see, let's do the Eevee one first, because Eevee is getting a few major overhauls, which as someone who's been rather critical of Eevee Next in the past, it's very good to see that it's getting some improvements, because it is looking very good. So it might be a bit hard to see on the YouTube livestream just because of compression. I need to slow down my words. Actually, I need to open up a different scene. Which one? There we are. There we go. This scene. So now, as we can see here, this scene is looking a bit less noisy than before, because there have been some major overhauls to the ray tracing and fast GI in Eevee. So there's a good comparison PR, which I should have had the link for before I started the live stream, but basically things are a lot less noisy and a lot more accurate, because apparently the ambient occlusion was so broken that most of the scene would have looked completely black. Or maybe not broken, but just it would evaluate differently at a far distance, but now that's working well. But the denoising, if you had denoising off and had a resolution less than 1, it would just appear very pixelated because there was no bilinear interpolation. So now that's fixed, where you can now have denoising completely disabled and the resolution set to something above 1, and it'll still look okay, which is good. FastGI went through a whole overhaul, as I said before, many fixes coming through. I'll need to find that PR and put a link in the description for later on. But that's cool to see. So let's do that. We gotta move fast because I don't want to get away from the sample sound node for too long. I have a few little plans for it. But then lastly is the scene time node. So with this, can we see it? Yes, we can. So here we can see in cycles, even though I am using this on the CPU. Wait, is it updating? Or is this the test file? Oh, what? Oh, wrong build. Wrong build. Bear with me for a second, chat. Where is... is this the release? Oh, no, that's not the release build. Uh-oh. Let's see. Whoops, I forgot to boot up the right one. Give me 1 second, everyone. This is the release build. There we go. Let's just boot it up. Give me 10 more seconds. Here we are. Here we go, and I hope this build is the one that actually works. So we can see here, as this moves along, the scene time is being accurately used for the displacement on this effect. There are still a few little dependency quirks I need to figure out, but for the time being, it is apparently fully functional, which is very nice. I did go and test out like the view layer stuff right here, and apparently it seems like they fixed the weird updating issue in that as well. So in theory, in current Blender, you could just make a node group with this and call it a day. But the scene time node, it would just be a bit faster, and, well, it would allow for more scene data to happen in the future, because for that thing, I've modified, so far, 37 files. The average, or the normal amount that you change with the simple little input geometry node is usually 3 to 5. So this has been one of the most difficult things I've ever worked on, but I have learned so much about Blender's internal workings. The Eevee side wasn't the worst. That one was actually okay. Why is the shadow not updating? Why is the shadow not updating? Oh no. Oh wait, no, that's not my fault. That's actually something I discovered. Because for some reason with Eevee and displacement, the shadows don't update properly if the pseudo mesh goes outside the kind of, I guess, cell range. It just doesn't take that into account, which I assume is a bug. Well, it just straight up is a bug, seeing what we're seeing right here. So that is not my fault, and at the moment, not my problem. I may look into that later. But yeah, scene time, finally getting that for parity between the geometry node editor and the compositor. So that's good. If I were to start this from scratch again, I would just propose a node group asset that just had this inside of it, and that would have been so simple, and it probably would be in already. But the sunk cost fallacy is something I know very well, and we'll just keep doing. So yep, that is that. I hope you're all excited for that. Okay, let's go back to today's build. Let me make sure I get the latest build of 5.2 up and running. Full spectrogram. There we go. And, oh, let me go and save this as a new file so that I don't overwrite the other one. I'll just mark this here. There we go. Okay, so now that we got this here, let's go and do a fun little project. So I had a few little ideas that I would like to try out. And if you have any suggestions, put them in the chats. Let's see. Where are you working at the moment in the capitalist world? I think it's best if I don't say that on stream. Let's see. This and animation nodes MIDI stuff would be amazing. Most likely, yeah. As far as I know, well, I actually don't know how... Wait, MIDI works by just having on and off things, and then, yeah. So I think exporting MIDI as just a regular file would be fine. Or exporting it as a CSV file. Does that even work? That also mentions with the import CSV file, if string fields become a thing, I'll need to go and update this so that I can actually export the string data. Or maybe I'll do it automatically with the new attribute type. I don't know. But that will be amazing. So, okay, let's go and mute this once again. So there's a few little things I want to try with this setup. I want to try, one, some cool shader displacement stuff. So I was thinking, like, you know those, what is it? The ferrofluid, the magnetic fluid. I want to try something like that, either with particles, or with just reading the spectrogram data, and then just making this displace according to that, which could be cool. String fields are already a thing as roughly a month ago. String fields are a thing, but not string attributes. I'm not maybe they updated that. I've been a little bit out of the loop. But for the moment, I don't think it's available. So what I'm going to do a little trick right here where I'm going to turn this into an instance. Geometry to instance so that I can store just one value on this, and then the shader editor do all the fancy displacement. So store named attribute on the instance domain. This will be amp for amplitude. Let's go and get our sample sound frequencies node right in here. Just need the scene time. Yeah, unfortunately with the CSV file, since it stores everything as just attributes, I need string attributes for that to work. Which isn't the worst. It's not bad. So now that we have that and that, that's all fully functional. I can just go and select the Hertz range. So now let's go into the shader editor and do some fun little stuff. I don't know how long this stream is going to go, but it'll be cool. So we have this, and we could put that into there. I want this to be dark, and maybe, let me go and get an HDRI real quick. I want to make this a very interesting, almost ferrofluid thing, but I want to do some fancy displacement. So let me go and get a good HDRI going. Let's see, where are my simple 256 HDRIs? Where are they? Environment textures, Which one? Do I go with? Metro Nord, that's always a good one. Here we go, and now we're back. So something like this. Oh yeah, that'll work very well. Switch that to be cubic so that it looks actually blurry. Oh, and also, in 5.2, EV reflections will look a lot better because apparently the blurring will look good. I'm not sure if it might be a past GI thing or just I don't know. Point is, reflection should look quite a bit better in 5.2. Yes. Oh, and also, just speaking about EV Next, before, reflections, especially reflections like these, metallic ones, looked extremely muddy in previous versions. But I noticed that they fixed it, which is very, very cool to see. And also, temporal reprojection will work in 5.2, because apparently that was broken, or was that temporal accumulation? One of those was not using the right projection matrix. So a lot of stuff is going to be fixed with EV in 5.2, which is so cool to see. Let's go and get a displacement modifier, which, do I even need this? No, we're just going to do this the normal method, using geometry normal and scaling it like a normal person. Or if I get the normal and the tangent, I can make this tangent-based displacement. Actually, does the displacement modifier... no, it doesn't have tangent space. So I can make this a little bit fancier. So if I get the tangent, geometry tangent, we have, no, not that one. UV tangents? Tangent? Here. We really need a string input for, string input for that. I'm speaking way, way, way too fast for my mouth to keep up. My brain is going way too fast, which is a common problem for me. Let's go with separate XYZ. I think I have the order for these wrong. Normal, tangent, and then the bitangents. Yes. We have all that. So now we have, I guess, tangent space displacement. I didn't look this up beforehand, so I could be completely wrong. I think it should be fine. Just making this a bit more fancy. That's all. We have that and that. This should be the smooth tangents. Oh, that's a problem. I could just switch it to be position-based, which is just a cross product of, I'm assuming is the position? It has that centered though. Huh. I forgot some of the math, it'll be fine. Maybe I should swap this out with a UV sphere, but it's probably okay. We take a look at the amplitude here, we can see that it is doing its job. It is matching that, and it's super cheap because we're just storing one value on the instance domain. It's all looking quite good. So now let's make this actually look amazing. So let's go and get a Voronoi texture. This will be in UV space. For now, let's just get the most basic thing set up. So here, let's save the tangent space displacement for later. Let's go and just multiply you, plug you into there, plug you into there. We can still extract several different frequencies, which I may do. One for like the low range, one for the mid, and one for the high, if we want to like really get a kind of frequency-ish look. Or, wait a minute. The spectrogram, I could get the entire length of it, and then find out which part is predominant. and then get like the min and the max of that if it were a line, and then store that one value on this, and then call it a day. That could be cool as well. So many ideas, so little time. Time is of the essence, and I do not have nearly enough of it. Let's set that to be 2 dimensions. So here we can see, okay, something like that. So I think we need a few more subdivisions on top of that. Hopefully this is fast. So let's go and just straight up disable you. So yeah, something like that. Maybe 4? But is that, I think that might be reevaluating every single frame, which is less than ideal. Actually, just to speed this up, I might have a dummy object and then just read the super subdivided thing over here. That might be a good idea. Geonodes, all about optimizations, because we want to take full advantage of GPU displacement. So we're just going to drag in our icosphere as instance so that it doesn't need to do any conversion, in theory. And there we go. It is super fast because it's just not recalculating the tons of subdivisions that we're doing right there. Because as we can see, this is super hella dense. Not great. Here we can see that's working just fine. So we got that simple thing going, but we need it to look even better. So let's throw in a normalized, and we need to go and use a map range. Also thinking that maybe Voronoi isn't the way to go with this. Unless I used like a smooth F1. That's cool to see, but this is notoriously expensive. We see that, and then we can turn up the D. Ooh, look at that. So fancy. And I also turned off ray tracing, which, yeah, that would explain a lot of the issues. Which it's interesting to... Yeah, that should be fun. Temporal accumulation. Again, I'm using the non-upgraded ray tracing, though the fast GI is already updated in this version. So I think that's going to be getting a few more updates and improvements in the near future. Let's go and get you, just make sure this material is, yep, that's the same material, that's good. I want to see, how should this be done? So this part's pretty simple, it's just displacing with one singular value, but it could be more. Did this change the lencuarity or whatever to be more like that? It had something like that. Oh, that's a cool pattern as well. We are getting some very nice discontinuities right there because of the seam, but ignore that. Might just change it to an icosphere so that we get one big seam instead of a ton. Look at that. Dang. I think that's good for now. 1 and 0, so that one... That's a cool texture. Wait, how have I not used that before? Just because it's a smooth F1. Very nice and organic. But we need to displace this also with time as well. So we can get the scene to... Oh, wait, that's not in there yet. Actually, let's just use the view layer attributes. Let's insert... render.fps. Does that work? Oh wait, view layer. Yes, that works. So, and then this is frame underscore current. So this will be our current scene time node. I can't believe I forgot about this. Though, to be fair, I thought it was still broken in cycles. And maybe it still is, like on the GPU. But my builds, for some reason, don't use the... Can't build the GPU side, which I need to look into because I need that. Scene time... whoa, what was that? Scene time. Go, so we got that going on there. Frame current. We're working. No, it's not. Oh, because it's on instancer. Of course. There we go. So now, yep, that is working as intended. So now if we go and use a vector math add and then vector math multiply, or just a multiply into a, or no, I can use it to displace the other parts as well. So yes, vector math, multiply, come on. There we go, and we set that to just be 0, 0. Oh, and a new thing, by default, all the nodes will default to doing nothing when you add them in. So just keep that in mind. I do like that because I would need to just null them by default, so now they just do it automatically. Let's put that right over into there. Yeah, that's fine. Make sure that is reconnected because, oh right, the viewer disconnected that. So here, do we need motion blur too? The motion blur on the scene time node is broken for in cycles, which is very unfortunate. Here, not seeing any displacement there. Where's the camera? Let's bring you out. Oh, and I need to re-enable dev aces 1.3 because it looks the most moody. Or 2.0. 1.3 feels the most moody out of the bunch. Let's go and come on, buddy. Move this out, put it over there. We might need to brighten up the scene a bit more. Or do we just go with AGX? Yeah, just because it just looks a little bit better in this case. Does motion blur work? It does. Okay, just not in the viewport. Classic stuff. And then we have that. Oh, is it because it's an instance? If I were to... Yeah, that might be the case. So now this looks like it's wibbly wobbling and all that. Let's go back to... Wait. Hello? There we go. So now we have that and that. Let's go in and use a noise texture because I do want to try this guy over here. Turn off normalize, plug you into there. We need to just go and add all these together to get the proper displacement. So tangent space. I actually haven't done this before in the shader editor. So this will be a cool experiment. Maybe not a successful experiment, but an experiment nonetheless. But I think it could work. You might just need to bias it towards different parameters. Yeah. I mean, it is working, just not entirely. At that, it's doing everything there. Oh yeah, we're starting to get the lag going. And it's doing it to bolt, so maybe I should hide this guy. Wait, what? Interesting. Very interesting. Forgot about that. Let's see. Let's go and turn this down again. Set to be like 2. And that is not using the amplitude right there, which it does need to. Let's see. I want to try using a vector rotate to make kind of a curl effect, but that'll be more of a foreign... Hello? Oh, here we go. That's just like that. Interesting. This look kind of ferrofluidy. I want to try the cooler thing. So if we get the position of this and then the regular position, tangent space, that subtract them. Oh, this might be very cool. Okay. So I need to make a node group for this because I can't do a simple thing. I need to show my absolute knowledge of everything procedural and all that good stuff. Position. So my plan here is to get the local space when it's ready. Is to get the local position for all of this. Hello? Oh, right, because of that, yeah. Because, yeah, the position's in UV space, not world space. I forgot about that. Of course it's that. Oh, so this makes this a bit more interesting to deal with. Maybe I could just store a few masks on the mesh by default and then just read those attributes since they won't update. So I could get the center positions and then the smooth Voronoi. Read that on the texture. or on the geometry, then read that as like a pseudo texture, but it's on the, read it as a vertex color is what I mean. And then use that to displace everything else. That could work. Instead of doing everything procedurally, let's try it. It's an experiment, so let's see if I can make the experiment work as intended. So here, any solution for the seam lines? Don't have seam lines. So if I were to use this position, it would just work. But I want discrete cells. And then what I want to do is change this from world space to tangent space. So what I'm going to do is, do I make a node group for both or one and then just mix between the two? Let's see, we do have the menu switch, don't we? Yes, we do. Okay, so I can't just do that. Vector, let's go and save this in its current state. Make a nice node group. So we need to switch. This will be our vector input. And then this will be to tangent space and then from tangent space. From tangent space. Wait, I forgot. How do we decompose this from, this assembles it to tangent space. So okay, let's get this node. So to tangent and, or to tangent space. And then this one is from tangent space. And then the output's just that. How do we, oh, dot products. My brain just, wow, my brain really couldn't think of dot products for a second right there. Oh boy, I must be tired. I must be spending too much time doing capitalism. So fun. Capitalism is so fun. Yep. Probably not drains your soul. Go. Combine XYZ. So this one is from tangent space. Or no, let's see. Tangent to world. Then world to tangent. I think that works. Keep the capitals in there for some reason. So this will be tangent transform. And let's not forget the most important thing, which is actually having the menu input available right here. Let's go and bring that up to there. There we go. There and there. So this is world to tangent. Actually, let's flip these around. Oh, there. Oh, my brain's cooked. I'm so sorry, chat. There we go. So, world to tangent. Misspelled tangent. Lovely. Okay. Tangent. Oh my gosh, I am so sorry, everyone. There we go. So now this is in tangent space. And then we do some stuff in tangent space, and then we go and undo this so that it can do all that. Lovely. Lovely. So now we can do whatever we want here. If I want to multiply it, vector math, multiply this on the z-axis. I'll read the chat in a second. I know I've been neglecting you all. So if we just wait for this to boot up, we can see, and we can remove that's all fine. As we can see, it did not work. What did I do wrong? World to tangent space, yes. World to tangent. So yes, world. Do I have these reversed? Yes, I did. I think that's right now. So now, in theory... Nope, still super broken. What is your problem? Let's see, what is the problem here? So again, this one is Normal up top, tangent, and then bitangent. Tangent. Yeah, so what's the issue? Oh! For some reason, I thought normal should be Z. Okay. Wait, actually, yeah, well, how should this be? How should this be done? Tangent by tangent normal. Oh, yeah, no, sorry everyone, I am re-downloading things into my brain. Remembering techniques I haven't used in a few months. Again, it's tangents by tangents, and then the normal. Yes, there we go. Tangents by tangents, then the normal. Tangent by tangent normal. Flip those around. And now, if I have this correct, now, it should work perfectly. No flaws whatsoever. Let's see. Is there anywhere I can report bugs? I found one in the NLA editor. Yes, there is. Unconnect this again, make sure it works. There we go. Now tangent space stuff is working as intended. Uh-oh. I think we're due for a crash right now, because that should not be occurring. Oh no. Well, speaking of bugs, found one. If I had to guess, this is probably due to the menu switch. If I had to guess. Or maybe just like, I don't know. I actually don't know. Okay, but anyway. We have our tangent space displacement stuff right there. There should be no difference in the z-axis, I think, or no, maybe there is. What am I actually doing right here? We have our local space thing there. That's been localized. So it looks like that. Then what I want is to get the distance to the cell position. No, we already have a distance. That's derived from this. So we have everything we need. So what I want to do is to get the color as well. So, okay. Let's finally get to what I was meaning to. Vector rotate. Let's see. How are we going to do this properly? We're going to vector rotate and displace this stuff. So we get the vector, rotate the vector. According to the length, we use a map range. The axis doesn't really matter because this is in space we already want it in. Double check. Shoot, I forgot. We need the geometry. We need the attribute geometry because it'll be desynced because the stuff shader displacement gets pre-processed first. Position. We need to have that and that. So this should be consistent because we're reading the actual attributes instead of the live vertex shader stuff. Yes, it is now consistent. Now it's rotating. Why is it not rotating? Is it rotating correctly? Is the distance just way too high? No, it is absolutely collapsing in on itself, which should not occur. What are you doing? What is this doing? Again, we got you. What? Let's turn off the displacement so that I can see what the heck's going wrong here. That, we rotate it. Wait, we don't even need this either. We just need this. Then we just... Wait, I am so sorry, everyone. We take the position. We localize it. And then we add back. And we add position back and then do that. No, that doesn't work either. We have this, and that is right as the displacement, which collapses everything into the center point, but we don't want everything into the center point. What am I doing again? We need to mix the positions. Do you even need the tangent space stuff for this? I'm getting so turned around. Okay, let's rebase this. Let's do this in world space and then forget about the tangent space stuff temporarily. We have the position here. We go and subtract that from that. We get the distance between them. And then we take the position, we rotate it according to whatever we have right here. We can use the color to determine the axis using the axis angle method, which should work just fine. And this is still in global space, I think. We use that for U. Let's use a vector math subtract by 0.5 so that we get this going in positive and negative directions. That we can get that going into there so that it'll be anywhere. And then for this to actually work in displacement, we need to go and subtract the position and scale it to determine... We don't really need to. This just makes it so... Yeah, we don't need that. This is an actual global space, and then we just need to subtract that so that's an actual normal offset. So now we should see, in theory, it should work. Something is happening. Ah, yes, the center point needs to be, of course, the center. There we go. That wasn't too bad. That was awful. That wasn't too bad, was it? So now, according to that, I can go and add the bit right here, so I can scale according to the geometry normal. Which I hope is normal. Let's see, is that an attribute I can pull from? No, it's not. So I can pull the geometry normal. And since it's happening as a pre-process, I guess it should be fine. There we go. Put that into there. So now that we have that and that, we should see, when I reconnect the shader again, we don't need... Let's decouple these so that they're not completely combined. One will be like that. One will be like this. Getting turned... Oh, I feel my brain getting turned around again. Let's go and lower that by a bit and then turn that up. There we go. Now let's go and scale this up so that we get less occurring. And there goes whatever kind of memory issue we have there. Sorry, not enough buffers. Here we have that. We can go and scale that up. And now we have that weird displacement thing going on. Cool, maybe not what I was expecting. And also, wait, wasn't this stream supposed to be about the sample sound node? Got so derailed that I forgot. And we smooth that out and then create a total amalgamation that is horrendous to look at. Kind of cool. Let's go and change this to be a power node. Because the whole goal of this stream is to use the sample sound node for all of this. But again, my brain has been so incredibly cooked. But yeah, that looks fairly unique. So now what I can finally do is offset the Voronoi texture using the scene time node group. Need to go and add and then subtract position, or else things will get really screwed up down the line. So let's set this to be vector math multiply. Actually, here, let's go and then frame. So let's go and get the group. Seconds. There we go. That's good. We plug this into here and into there. Add, then subtract. That should be perfect. Now we should see. There we go. That's the kind of thing I wanted to try out. Something actually unique. Or, that sounded very disparaging. with something very, I don't know. I haven't really seen something quite like this before. Using vector, if I want this to seem almost alive. Something absolutely terrifying. Yeah. Oh yeah, the sentient goop. Yep, that's going well. Let's see. Are these attributes of the scene time group default render.fps, view layer render.fps, and then view layer frame currents? Yeah. So now, yeah, that looks good. And now I just need to actually, we're using the color here, which, yeah, that's smooth between everything. So the question is, how do I use the sound to make this look good? We don't need any of that anymore. We already handled it. What I do need, though, is to put these into frames so that my brain can comprehend it, and you all can comprehend it, because this has gotten very out of hand very quickly. Reroutes. One day we'll get a node link portal. Just a reroute where it doesn't show the node link, but just a nice little name. I would look into that if I had time, but that is not something I have. And then finally, this guy is okay. There we go. An abomination wrangled in a little bit. And tangent space. Oh, no tangent space, right. I got rid of the node group for that. Where's the thing? Group, tangent transform. We'll still need that. I may use that in the future. Apparently it's not needed for this. So yeah, that. Look at that. May need to slow it down by quite a bit. 0.25. So it's just like, yep, that is properly unnerving. Absolutely terrifying. I hate it. I absolutely despise it. Wait, should the length be 1 divided? Yeah, that's probably better. I disconnected something very important. 1 divide. Oh wait, this might be... There we go. Disgusting. Terrifying. Maybe the worst thing I've ever made. I've made much worse. No, actually, this is the worst. What have I done? What have I made? Oh, that is absolutely amazing. Oh my gosh, that is so cool. If only the purple, oh wait, actually, there we go. If I just disable that. Wow. Wow. That is something. Oh, yeah, no, that happens because it just cascades. That is actually almost perfect. Okay, I guess I just need to tie this with the amplitude here and call it a day. And then, yep, we just scale this in post, put it right over to there, and then, let's see, so. Okay, we need to use more of the, frequencies to make this work. What other data can I get from this? I can get other data. That is such a unique shape. Very alien. Wait, do I have multiple detail levels going? Yep, properly terrifying. And then there's that, so yeah, the wow. Cascades really be doing stuff. That's just the normal part, which is just that, you know, pretty normal. Smoothness is the most expensive part of all of this. Oh, yeah, that explains a lot. Since the position gets interpolated, which makes everything smooth, it means that in some points it does... Stuff like that just happens, where it's so close to 0 that it absolutely freaks out. So if I were to just tamper that by putting a minimum, or no, it's max, because choose the max. We can just really rein that in. That doesn't, or should it be a smooth max? Oh yeah, smooth max, that fixes all that. So if I want to get rid of the extremely interesting spikes, I could just do that. 0.05. I just need to harvest some other parts of this. So we have one amplitude, but what if we had multiple amplitudes? I had points. Or no, I could just duplicate the node, have amplitude low, amplitude high. Then high would determine how high the frequencies could go. Yeah. I could also do some other stuff. Yeah. Amp 2. We also don't have a sound sound input, so I can't make these automatically share the stuff unless it was in a node group once again. So let's see. Where's simple spectrogram? Where are you? There you are. Let's see the other frequency ranges. I just want to isolate the lows and the highs. So dun 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 dun. So 500. Okay, a bit too low, so maybe 1,000. 1,000 stacks up all that, so just So yeah, 0 to 1,000, then 1,000 to 20,000. That's how it works. 1,000, and then this too. There we go. So we have... That's just getting the lows, and then for the highs we can do other stuff. And also, I almost forgot, because I have the distance, I can go into the shader editor. So we have 2 amplitudes we can use for different values. We also have a noise texture that we can plug into there, and then we'll get some really weird and wacky stuff. So we can use this to displace by the normal, of course. Let's go and get the geometry normal, which is used here. Yep, I almost forgot that part. We're going to take the normal, scale it by amplitude, and we can put that into. This is going to be even more terrifying. Plug that into there and into there. There we go. Now it's looking a little bit more like a ferrofluid. Except, let's turn off normalize. And really, we need to ramp that down quite a bit. Ah, yes. So the high frequencies, or higher frequency, yeah, no, I think that's suitable for the high frequencies. We'll make that occur. And then the big spikes, which are not occurring, do I disable that? Not quite hitting as much as it should. It's okay, that's okay. We can make this work. No. I mean, it looks really cool in at some parts. Like very weird, magnetic, all that. But maybe I just need to displace the center in post more. Because right now it's just displacing according to the normal. Or maybe I need to rework this section. Is the sample sound node a custom node, or is it integrated into 5.1? It is 5.2 as the... I put that in the title, right? Oh, shoot, I said 5.1. Whoops. Changing that. Whoops. Sorry, everyone. No, that's in 5.2. 5.2, 5.2, 5.2. How did I miss that? I am so sorry. I am so sorry. Man, I know I keep bringing up this excuse so many times, but my brain is just a tad cooked today. Just a tad. And do I make this a sliding scale? Or a sliding scale, what am I talking about? Do I make this part sliding as well? Just to make it look even more alien. Yes, yes we do. Put that into there so that it'll never look exactly the same twice. There we go. Oh, yep, that works. Yeah, this needs to be a little bit different. It's okay, though. Highs, and then this is the lows, but I want it to... It's just not quite working the way I want it to. That does that. Yeah, no. Circles there are doing too much. Like the rotations, that... Not doing what I envision. Not doing what I envision. Might need just a few little tweaks, because the center, I think the center needs to be warped. We just need to, oh wait, I can't do that. I may need to hue shift this. I can't use a white noise texture because there's interpolation going on. Oof. We do need that though, so I need to go and scale that data. We need that portal node in the shader editor. We need it. Here we scale that. We just mix between one location and the other and then spin it around that center point. I may try doing that. So here we got... Are you not displacing? Hello? Axis and then the center. Yes. The center is right here, and it goes into... Ah, that is incorrect. Okay. Yep, that is... Why is that still doing nothing? Subtract by 0.5, and then we scale. And see, this part does work. Why is it not actually offsetting? Rotation center. Maybe it's trying? Yeah, no. Okay, yeah, I think I figured out what I need to change. Yeah, no, we gotta change this up. So, spaghetti, let's go and move the spaghetti. Let's see. The joy of making Blender abominations with the Cartesian caramel. Unfortunately, that's something I've done quite often. Every day it's like, what new abomination should I make? I think it's because I like to tinker. I like to make just random little gizmos and stuff like that. But, with said gizmos, for some reason I'm like, oh, what if we made it absolutely wacky? Oh, right, no, we did need that. Oh, okay, we needed that, subtract, but not that. Oh my gosh, this is becoming a lot. GF, move this over to here. Let's have reroutes. So this one is offset to vector, offset vector. We put that into there. And then this one is Reroute. There we go. It's okay. Then that's just the random value. We should not be using that at any point in time. It should only be this guy. Because with the way things slide, it'll go and make things work a lot worse. But I also want to change a few other things. So I need to use a mix node because we're going to be using something like this, but not quite. So we plug this in right here. We're going to, yeah, let's just chop a lot of this out because we don't need, we can keep you. Reroute, random. Go. So we want to mix between the current position and then an offset position, which will be right here. Let's just go and scale this. This offset position also goes into the center. Oh my gosh, this is becoming so complicated so fast. I should use node groups. Anyway. Center and then the axis we don't need to worry about. Actually, for this random, we need to denormalize it. That's fine there. Yep, this is becoming a lot. So now, if we do all that, we should see that something interesting occurs, which should become much more apparent when that happens. And the mix there should also become much more apparent. I can't see the wireframe because of what I did. Here it's like that, and then we just need to really multiply the living stuff out of this right there, and that should have worked, but of course it did not, which confuses me greatly. It should displace with this new displacement. Should rotate that vector on the axis. Around an axis. Is it because it's not localized to this new position? The vector is there. It's mixing to that new position, yes. It's not rotating. Why is it rotating? Try this and see what happens. Actually, let's go and turn off the smoothness to see what the heck is going on. And that does absolutely nothing. And also the center just subtracts and then adds to that. We're mixing between that position and that position. Oh wait, even that part's not working as intended. Because why? Why? Mix between the true position and then the new position. But why is it not? Heck you. What is your story? Like that, and that. Yep, that's fine. Be good. We have the position there. We add a little bit to that, and then we mix between that position and that position. Yeah. What is your problem? Unless problem is you. And it's not really. No, it kind of is. Okay. Oh, no, that is a problem. What? Should just subtract. It takes the position, yeah, la-di-da. We don't need to worry about you. Oh, it's because of the amplitude, isn't it? Yes, it is. Yep, that explains a lot. So things were almost working as intended, but I need to put the amplitude thing in here instead of in post. So here we can see, oh, lovely. It's moving around. It's having a grand old time. It's still not. Oh. Yeah, let's make that a bit smaller. So sorry this is taking so much. There we go. So yeah, that is the problem at hand. Map range instead. I guess that's what we have to do now. Here we have that and that, but we need to make it a lot less. Again, we have that going on. So now we can rotate this, and now we're properly getting the spinny thing happening there. We use a power node. Which part needs the power node? That we get the proper... nope. Not really doing what I want. Although, almost. Mixing. That is the problem. Mixing. Ah, there we go. So those kinds of hooks. Almost. So close to actually making this work, but not quite. And it's because of that gosh darn smoothing. That's the problem. Actually, what is the problem with smoothing? I gotta ask. Because the random's not the problem. Because it'll smoothly interpolate between the two. That's not an issue. You know... Is this a sunk cost fallacy thing? I had an idea and I can't properly execute it. So close to working, though. As we can clearly see. Nope. Here, if we just disable that. Yeah, we can see that. We're getting that going. That's what I want, but I just want to work better. Nope. I want it to work a little bit better. If we change that to be linear, seems to work a little bit better. Is this part what we need to change? Because this determines how many vertices we have to play around with all this. I know this was a sample sound node stream. I know. I am so sorry. I've been so distracted. Maybe I'll do another stream tomorrow. Assuming things get fixed or something like that. Just experimenting. That's what I like to do. And then... hopefully that background noise is not being picked up. No, it's not. That is good. Okay. Okay, that should be good now. There was just some background noise going on from outside. So nice to happen while streaming. Oh, it's so close to working, but not quite. Oh wait, that's almost like a wave. You can see what I'm going for. It's so close to my grasp, but not quite there. Then when it defaults to 0, it shouldn't default to 0. So close to working, but not quite. That right there, and that right there. It's cool though. It's evident that the displacement is not holding up with this much weird stuff going on. It's cool though, even though it's not actually working. Okay, looking very alive, very disgusting. And then when we mix that all up, it turns into that. Wait a minute. No, the angle should increase the closer it gets to end position. Why not seem to be doing what I want? Oh yeah, no, that's totally what I want right there. Almost working, but not quite. It's so annoying. So close. So close. Divide. I can hear my GPU whirring a little bit. Probably because I have two of these in the same thing. So with that happening, just really, and I still, wait, where's the wireframe? Does this actually work in Eevee? No, it does not. Never mind. I need the geometry parametric. There we go. Okay, now we can see. Oh, that is going to be a YouTube compression nightmare. Oh. Cool. And Y, X and Y, X and Y, X and Y. I need to make like, no, but we can't figure out the quads with this. It's just the triangle. Or wait, is that quad? Oh, no, wait, that is quad. Oh. What? I don't fully understand it. Anyway, let's go back over to here. Could you potentially use curve data to influence the curvature of the extrusion? I don't want to. The whole, the idea for this was that, dude, a double inversion, bad idea. No, that is a problem. Why can it not rotate properly? It's acting as if... The higher the distance gets, the more it tries to collapse, and then that stuff happens. That... Incorrect. So this part is working as intended if there's like no offset. If there is no offset whatsoever, that part is working kind of as intended, which looks really cool. And I can still tangent space this as well. The thing is, I want the displacement to go up, sides and stuff like that. Because right now this is just random. I could go and hue, saturation, and value this to make... No, but that wouldn't work either, would it? I don't want to make this 4 dimensions because that would be so slow. We need to have this offset like that. And also, if I turn on ray tracing again, that would actually cause that, a major... Ah, yep, nope, there it goes. Is it, SGI? Is that what's doing it? Let's just see. No, it is something else. E16. How long does it take? Does it take longer to turn pink? It is taking longer to turn pink. So something must be wrong with, if we change it to be 1 of 1, it should turn pink within a few seconds. No. Oh, no, there we go. Yeah, okay. So yeah, something's still a little bit off right there. And if I had to guess... Not spatial reuse. It is just this part right there. Pity. Anyway. I'm spending... Oh, we're already past an hour. Oof. Oh, that's cool too. We're getting lots of mesh inversions, which I don't want. I wish I could just figure out how to make this part work, because I know I've done it before. Range... Oh, right, it's not connected. It's almost working. Like, look at that. That is almost working, but not quite. Like... Wait a minute. Please tell me it wasn't this simple this whole time. I'm going to be so upset with myself if it, okay, it wasn't that simple this whole time. But almost. Almost. What is... is the problem here? Z? We're just gonna control Z the hell out of it? Just an experimentation day today. Nothing groundbreaking, fortunately. So close to working, but not quite. Are these just reversed? If it was reversed this whole time, I tried that. And why does it seem to be working now? Power! Let's run it again. 2, 5. Why does it seem to be working better? I do not know. I really do not know. Oh well, I think it's time we called on this one. A result, but not a good result. And it doesn't use the sample sound node, which again should have been the whole point of this project, to play with the sample sound node. Okay, so we're shifting. I'm not gonna stop streaming just yet. We're going to be going back to the sample sound node. So we got this, we got that, all that's good. I'm going to make another setup, which is just going to be a line. Going to take a look at that. So with this line, there will be no UV map, which will be, well, which breaks some of the setup right here. So I'm going to go and make a new one. Group. Oh, that is lovely. Interesting, though. Very interesting. Unclip does not have an input, so it can't do anything there. Oh, and also the text boxes. I love these new text boxes. I hope they are added to the modifier as well, because that would be incredibly useful to have. If I have time, I will look into that, because look at that. That would be so useful in the modifier. Pop all that out. Make sure I use the right one. Do we need the displacement? No. Well, vector math multiply. Multiply. Really wish I could have gotten that thing working. Anyway, need to have the amplitude low and the amplitude high. So I'll just store the regular amplitude and then the min and the max of a certain range. That should be good. We have that and that. Do I just use a curve line? And then resample it a bajillion times? Yeah, why not? I can just use the parameter instead, and we don't need to worry about the time because there is no time gradient. Don't need to worry about an offset or anything like that. Just plug that directly into there. Use the spline parameter factor right into there. Eliminate that because we don't need that. Subdivide mesh, of course we... no. Control Z. Control Z? Dang, Control Z. Wait, it's not working. Oh well. Amplitude. Amplitude. Oh, got that there. So now we should see the offset occur. In theory... what's the problem here? Geometry offset. Amplitude. I did name that correctly, right? So why is it not reading? Resample curve on the points. Curve. Oh, it's because I am dumb. Where am I? I'm in edit mode, which may also be affecting it. What? My brain is breaking. Where's the curve? Hello? Sample. Store that. Yeah, that should be occurring. Okay, now it's working for some reason. I must have had a viewer somewhere that I didn't see. Okay, now let's actually get to the part that I intended. Do we do a field min and a field max, or do we use a... How do we do this? Okay, let's go and get a point, because this is... We're going to be using kind of reference points for this, and then we're just going to port that over to the instance that we'll have with our sphere and everything else. So now I gotta figure out... If I take the average position based on a given frequency, like I slice apart, and then I harvest its delicious position data based on how much amplitude it has, and then put that on, yep, that'll work. Attribute statistic. Do I use an attribute statistic for this? Or do I just calculate the stuff beforehand and then just sample an index and call it a day? I think an attribute statistic would be good enough. So if I take the position, I want to take the position before it actually offsets. Would it be better? Take that, and then I divide it, because we're just going to be using sums, and then divide, because, again, weighted averages and all that. That, and that. Control H, we bring this over to here. We get the amplitude, and then I could just go and mute by the gradient, whichever part I want to go and harvest. So if I use a compare node, equal, let's set this to be 0.1, I can go and select whichever part I want. So when I go and plug this all into our nice little point right here, we should see nothing is happening once again. What the... What is going on here? And then, yeah, that should be... Oh, wait, I forgot. I need to scale that by this part as well. There we go. Okay, so now we can see, since I only selected one part, it'll be weighted to that, and here, just from whatever selection we have with an ellipsin of 0.1, we'll just go and try to find the part right there. There we go. Finally got it. But I could do this in a better way, potentially. But how would I go and actually make it good? If I want to have an arbitrary amount of these, how would I do that? What I could do, okay, accumulate field. Basically the same thing, but using an accumulate field node. We don't need to connect it, of course. Use the factor right here, and then I just need to multiply this, or multiply, then floor, just so that we get like little zones that have one singular value. So we need to, no, multiply. I'll do 5 so that we get 5 bins, in a sense. Let's be there, and then we basically copy you. Except we do not need this guy right there. Just have you and you. We take you, so we have that data. And then what we need to do is store that data. Then based on the first part of our accumulate field node right here, for each bin section, we delete everything beyond the first points. Now give us our perfectly located bins. So let's go and store named attributes. Vector. Multiply, or no, divide, in case I forget. So we need to store it first, so that everything will just calculate. So this will just be bin position. Yeah, that'll be fine. Delete geometry, delete everything inside those bins. We can put that to be an int there. So if the leading is greater than 0, delete yourself. 2 points, and I need to do curve 2 points. Actually, in hindsight, I can make this more efficient by just not having a curve. Okay, what is your problem here? Railing. There we go. So now for each bin section, that will work. So here, in theory... yep, that'll do it. That'll do. Okay, I'm going to make this better by just straight up not using curves. I'm going to have points, and then based on their position, I'm just going to make a gradient based off their position. So yeah, let's go and store the gradient first, then set the position second. So gradient. So we have whatever the integer amount is divided by... What was I doing here again? Yeah, 120, so it's 1 divided by 120. Then we have the gradient just be the x-axis after that. Combine. You can feel the gears in my brain halting. So here we have that. So I should just have a line of points in theory if I actually did this right, which of course I did not. Index, index, index. There we go. Now I have the index, and all that's working as intended. Everything's fine. There we go. Now we have that, that, and that. Why do we have to... Why are 26 people still here? I am honestly considering, like, not saving the stream because not much of it has worked. But, you know, we'll see if it's useful in the future. We'll see if it's useful. And then right here, we need to use the gradient that was specified. Plug you into there. And also plug you into there as well. And also make sure it actually connects. So now, after all that time, and all those misguided attempts, with all those misguided attempts, it now finally works. We now have all these bins, so yeah. As the amplitude, and do these, they don't actually move. So we have their original position and then the bin positions, which means that I can get the relative offset between the two, which is actually really good. Though I could make this even more efficient by storing the old position. The old position. Just have the old position and then just set the position to be that. So that's more efficient than any alternatives. There we go. That is beautiful. Now we can see, yeah, for every bin, we have their accumulated side, and then that occurs. And then, let's go and save this. So now I can just go and sample whichever ones of these I want, and I can just determine where it is, how far along it is, and so on. Would I go and determine? No, I have the axis, which means since I have their x position, I can determine where it actually read from. So yeah, no, this is the ideal way of doing it. I just store the position and then I can extract the accurate data later on. And then since I also have the old position, yeah. Yeah, no, this is actually really good. This is a solid setup. So I guess averaged amp. Attitude. That'll work. Not exactly the simplest thing in the world, but it will function. So, in theory, if I were to use a simulation zone, also, if I were to, let's see, set ID, that should be fine. Join these into here and then use the ID. Yep. Join geometry, transform geometry. We do that and that. That should be good. Am I forgetting something else? No, that should all be good. Points to curves. This node is so nice. I remember when we first got it. And everyone rejoiced. It was so nice. Okay. So, and this needs to be ID. There we go. So now, just that setup, we can now trail this. Have the accumulated bins that just go along, depending on where the most amplitude is. So nice and accumulated. I need to make like a grand file where I have all these experiments, because this is quite good. For here, we have all this. They will move, depending on where the highest... I assume that is because something started to... Uh-oh. Why did that happen? That should not occur. All floored, which, to be honest, the floor would probably... I forget if the floor happens automatically. Should be fine regardless. Do I just need to store an attribute? So integer index. I'm just going to make it just in case the ID starts to then on itself. So ID 2. Boom, 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 boom. Should be good. Slightly worried. What causes it to collapse? Is it because it becomes too... Do we now have nodes that produce sound? No. We sample sound, we don't produce sound. I don't think geometry nodes could produce... Well, in theory, maybe it could produce sound, but it's probably something geometry nodes should not do, based on it being geometry nodes and not object nodes. What is this? What is the problem here? Causes it to freak out. It's like it hits a point count and then it can't resolve that problem. It should start corrupting. Yeah, no, why? It has the same integer value. Does the integer value change? What is your problem? Attribute text. Well, that seems to be consistent across the entire thing. 2, 3, 4. Yeah, no, that seems to be fine. What is your problem? Does the string to curves node just start? Uh-oh. No, that's fine as well. Yeah, no, what is your problem? Does it just exceed? No, that is an error frame. What is going on here? There's nothing that should cause that. Is that a bug? Am I stupid? I don't know. Maybe I am. Because there should be no reason whatsoever. Why? Wait, what? The cache. The cache is having a problem. Bake. Which we still need the bake thing there. No, that's also freaking out too. The sort order that needs to... Do I just need to store the sort frame? ID3? Use the just the scene time frame for that? It's only what their cause, like the wait for some reason. Okay, apparently that's it. Why would the indices freak out so much over that? Maybe just hit a limit. Maybe it just hit a limit. Oh well, or maybe it was the set ID causing that. I do not know. Oh well, I'm not gonna worry too much about that. It just needs to be an ascending value based on when it was joined into the fold. It's okay. Nothing major. No, there's something major going on. Is it still occurring? Oh, it's not still occurring. What the? Okay, never mind. You need a caramel out of context edit? Yep. Yep. Also, mod, just because you're here, the scene time node. 37 changed files now. It's been pain and suffering. There was one point where, like, for some reason, like, I needed to get a BKE, I needed to include a BKE file, and for the life of me, I couldn't find out why it wasn't working. And then all of a sudden, maybe I just needed to fully refresh the build, but it just started working for some reason. I was like, what? It was terrible. It's been pain and suffering. I should have just proposed a node group asset and called it a day. But we'll actually get scene data if this goes through, which means that it'll just make a way for a lot more scene data to be included in the shader editor. So overall, it's okay. It's okay. I've not lost sleep over this. Also, wait a minute. Beforehand. Slam a couple of Red Bulls and figure it out. Would you believe me if I told you that I have not had caffeine in the past month? For some reason, coffee basically does nothing to me. I've tried like double shot espressos and it's just like, I don't think I feel anything. I just live and do Blender dev and give myself pain and suffering completely unaltered. Even though I probably should. Oh, that's a cool. Ooh, that's cool. This is the trail. I could just go and capture this with a capture attribute node and then store it there and then just reference it there. That would be much smaller. Actually, no, storing it's better. Though I've never tried doing Blender on other substances. I wonder how that would go. That would be really funny. That would be really funny. Let's see. Yeah, so we have that. What was I actually going to do with this again? I forgot what I was actually going to do. I shouldn't alter... Because the benefit with this versus... Oh, wait, I forgot about the bin offset. This should be... The bin offset should be 1 divided by 100, right? 0.01. I think that should be correct. So if we do 1 divided by 100, or whatever the point count is, it should give me the most accurate offset possible. Right? No, actually. Incorrect. Does it have to be twice? Oh, that is also incorrect. 0.5. No, that is even more incorrect. Divided by 100. Mult. Dang it. I forgot something. So we see here that when this occurs, we just get a midpoint and not actually, you know, that last point right there. What I need to do is go and add 1 or subtract 1. Subtract. So that reminds me of like the first bug report that I made for GeoNodes, where it was like the resample curve node or something. This was like ages ago. It was off by 1, so the endpoint was just offset. First bug report I ever made for GeoNodes, probably 4 years ago now. I've been doing this for too long. Probably fine, right? And then the amplitude, do I just multiply that? It's fine. I'm not fussed about it. No, I should actually wait. Yeah, no, it should be like this, so that it'll be the same amount. Yeah, it's just upping the up or down the resolution. I know that seems to be fully close enough to accurate. Which means also I don't need you anymore, or I don't need to crank that up anymore. Nice. I do hope one day, or like with the portal nodes, I need those portals. I really, really need those portals. Let's see. You need the amount of changes to add a shader node, geometry attribute node, or current one to fix the exponential calculations to see how many new things are born in that world. Oh, yeah, I never even considered that. So yeah, an actual scene time node would be better. Just make one more step and hope to finish, and one more, and one more, and one more. Yes, that has been the entire process of that. I was like, okay, I know this will be, going in, I knew it was going to be painful, extremely painful for the scene time node. Because I knew nothing about cycles, I knew basically nothing about Eevee, I knew absolutely nothing about OSL. But I was just like, well, let's go into this. And fortunately, camera.h was very helpful. Or, yeah, the camera part, because that basically, I just had to copy a lot of that in order to make that side work. And then, what was the other part? I've been trying, I've gotten good, well, I shouldn't say good, because I actually don't know how good I am at this. But I've gotten better at navigating Blender source code, so I've gotten very good at navigating that so that I can just go and say, you know what? Hold position and then doing that. What was I gonna say? I found better ways of copying what already exists in Blender. And then finding out the relations between all that. Been editing the essential file to make use of bundles, consolidating noodles, but sometimes I struggle to name certain unused results. Like, what would you even call a group input divided by pi times 2? Input divided by ta? Ta is the thing, right? Or maybe just do pi times 2. Pi times 2 times 2. Because I think people will just remember that. Is there a place where people can chat with you off stream and talk workshop nodes? Yeah, Discord, Arendale's Discord, I'm sometimes in there, and that's usually where people talk about GeoNode stuff. I do need to talk to more people about GeoNode stuff because I've been in such isolation when working on all this stuff. Just like, oh, I'm just in my nice own little world. Then, well, the scene time node occurs. I spent 3 weeks on that. Erin, as in E-R-I-N, Dale. That was like where the GeoNode scene formed, and people there still talk quite often about GeoNode stuff. E-R-I-N. Yeah, that's how you spell Erin. Erin Dale. Very nice person as well, from what I hear. There we go, we got all that, so all this seems to be quite good. We now have the bins, and it just goes and finds that. That's actually a very nice pattern right there. Which means, yeah. You can go, or what if, I just had a really horrible idea, but might work. What if I used recursive, like a recursive subdivision thing? So I would find the average of 1, and then with the remaining split, I would find the averages of those two, and then keep repeating the process again and again, just constantly dividing, finding the midpoint, dividing, finding... I could do that! Really bad idea, though, but I can do it. Just go to each one, find the midpoint, repeat, 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 and then finally do this. Oh, that is so dumb. But it can work. Maybe I'll save that for another time, but that is a really, really good idea. Cursive subdivision of an amplitude. Really dumb. Probably wouldn't work. But that's actually brilliant. So just doing this in a repeat... Wait, I gotta try that. Repeat zone. You can't see it, but I'm smiling. Just at the prospect. I am such a nerd. Oh my god. So what I need to do here... Store like the average position. I need to store multiple pieces of data. So, okay. It actually work. So, step 1, this should be first. Get the int, and this is just the general bin, I guess. Bins. Go, we do that. And then the bin needs to be decided by the actual midpoint. So, instead of a gradient like this, take the input bin. Let's see. This is so dumb. And no, that actually needs to be last because I need to see. This is incredibly dumb. You take the pre-existing bin and then hash the value with the previous bin. This is so dumb, but it might just work. We have that. We have the new bin, and then we do that, and then we do that. So we take the pre-existing bin. We take the pre-existing bin, that does that. And then, based on whether or not you're greater than the old position, per bin, you go into there, and oh, that is... Why am I excited about this? Wait a minute, separate X, Y, Z. If this actually works the way I think it will. Also need to make a kind of like Beat Saber-esque thing where it spawns in notes. Oh yeah, no, that's kind of what I've been trying to do here. I forgot I am actually trying out new things right now. Still following my original plans somewhat. We have that and that. So every time it goes through, bin... Oh wait, but that, yeah, that position. We need to work, we want to keep the original positions as is for now. And then just affect the... Yeah, no, we want to keep the original bin position. So this will be P2. Then it'll be P2 and that. Let's just go and reference these so that I don't need to find it again. Okay. Do it again. Wait. I think it's working now. Set position. I am such a nerd, but this is actually pretty fun. It's raining today, so I had no other grand schemes. Okay. Oh, right, because it's a hashed value, it goes into basically infinity. It's not a white noise, but I can go and make it a white noise. Turn, we'll bring it back down to Earth. How many repeats? Oh, and it's offset. Yeah, no, I need to simply replace. We get the position, we multiply the Z by 0, so now working. Would you look at that? Would you look at that? I am a genius. Sometimes. Part-time. So now this will actively go and mediate to the middle. And then, oh, wow. How about that? And then part 2 overwrites every, yeah. This is going to go so hard in the UPBGE rhythm game potential with pop off. Will pop off. I find it funny that people are still using the Blender game engine. It's funny that's still actually going. The music needs to restart. All right. So now with this, the z-axis, store the bin. Since we have the bins, do we need to just do one final hurrah? One final hurrah? What am I? Do I just need to do this again, except with the regular bins as a pseudo post process? So if I were to do this, just get the bins after, you know, all that weird calculation stuff is done. We do this and then feed this into there. I have a feeling that's going to really freak out. Let's go and save this as well. Oh, it works. Okay, it works. But is it actually finding the midpoint? It is concentrating to the detail, which is good. We just need more frames to properly evaluate this, because... Wait a second, can I actually... I can go and make this so that it is time in, like, sim independent. But I think that would be a really bad idea, potentially. Let's go and... I really need to use frames, because what the heck is happening here? So this is... recursive subdiv bin subdiv kind of works. Let me up it even more. I am worried that once it hits one point, it might cause everything to absolutely freak out. It seems to be doing okay right now. And then P2, I don't think I need to do any of this anymore, because I just need to assign P2, which I'm not the happiest that P2 keeps overriding. I feel like that should mix with the previous position. Yeah, maybe that should happen. I just mix it half and half. Then we set you to be there, and then since the bin's right there, it makes that completely independent. How different is it? Wait a minute. Why is it apparently joining more of those, and you should not be, yeah, you like that. The raw data. Why do you appear to join? That shouldn't occur. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, wait, maybe it actually... No. Any... Weird. Oh, is it because there's 9 up vertices or points? Then, but then why would... This is using that weighted average as well, right? Yeah. Oh wait, this isn't actually using the midpoint, is it? No, no, it is. It is. What's the problem here? Hmm. Let's see. It recently got updated to 5x and receives weekly builds for 5.2. Oh, interesting. Really surprised there aren't more vids about bundles and closures, but then again, despite how powerful they are in the lower end, they aren't as bombastic as the raycast node. Yeah, I think it's because bundles and closures, while they are extremely powerful, they're more for people who make node groups and stuff like that. While the raycast node, other people will be just using that a lot. Like that, while P2 wants to join everything. Actually, how do the bin IDs line up with all this? So P2 aligns. Oh, is it? No, it's because I'm a little bit stupid. Since the bin hash happens, yeah, okay. The bin hash should happen first and then the averaging and then it goes through every single time. So this just happens in the wrong stage. No initialized data occurs, so this will be previous position and then new position, I guess. Oh, wait, no. Oh, no, this is bad. No, this is broken because if this doesn't actually feed into the... Yeah, no, we need P2, or no, P1, rate of naming on my part, into P2, then if P1 and P2 is broken, now it should be mostly fixed. Nope, now it should be mostly fixed. This is just so that... And then into the new P1, that goes into there. So, in theory... Oh, okay, I broke it big time. What is the problem here? Ooh, maybe we're getting at that point where even this part I lost track of what's going on. White noise, W. Set position, we just need to combine XYZ. This needs to be the actual position. That's still reading there. Oh, right, because I need to take the position, change the Z to not be affected or to not exist anymore. Oh, this node spaghetti is hurting my soul. That's a problem. And after all of these, nothing is occurring. Okay, what's going on here? So we got that and that. That's being divided by that. P1, P2. P1, X is greater than P2 on there. Yeah, what's the problem? It's because initialization issues. Since P1 equals nothing. And... do I just need to initialize? Yes. Yes, I do. No, but it's still not... What's your problem? What is your problem here? Oh, no, I was right before. Here it is just like that. Should be split into two. Let's try to make this as simple as... Oh, wait, nope. Problem. Because again, yeah, no. Okay, per bin, this is fine. We don't need you either. We just need to put you and you into there. And then I can mix between previous P1 and current P1 potentially. Or, better yet, I just have P2, which will be an average of the previous version and all that. Okay, we don't need you, we don't need you. Simplified, good. So this will be average position. Yeah. So that works. If that's greater than that, that's fine. And then for this part right here, to make the bins actually accurate, we need to let the bin split beforehand. Because that just, you know, that makes sense. Split the bins and average them just so that everything is all synced up and good. There we go. Punch that in between there, that's good. That is what I'm worried about because we need to initialize the average position and whoop. Make it so that it is anything less than that so that we don't get an initial split. Initialize it to that so that will work out just fine. We get 1. No split should occur. So the first iteration doesn't do anything, which is fine. Sets everything up, does the initial stack, and then, yeah, okay. That's good. That should work as intended. Now this, we don't need any of you at all. Even though, well, maybe keeping hold position would be good. Don't need that, that, and that. Then here, we just need to go use the bins. Into there. Position is already average, so we don't need to do anything else to that. We can just go and plug in the average position to be the regular position. Store the old position, and that is good. So here, with all that, should see. Make that 3. And now let's go and see if it actually works. It works. Good. That's another subdivision, and then another subdivision. So, if we look at this from the top, we can see that the parts do find their closest average. And then the amplitude does affect position. Oh, wait a minute. Should this be multiplied to... Well, this is technically the z-axis. Do all these get scaled by their z-axis? And that just determines the weight? Because maybe that's how it should be. Because this is all position-based anyway. Yeah, I'm just gonna do that. No, wait, no, that would need to be a... No. Or, no, it's simpler to do it this way. Okay. No, that is doing that. Okay. Is that spline type? There we go. Oh, that looks beautiful. Oh! I'm cooking. Every once in a while, I cook. And it usually turns out quite good. There we go. Even though we started off with about an hour of working on something that never even turned into anything, at the very least, it did turn into something interesting. Basically a sliding scale of all of that. Brilliant. Has anyone done this before in... Well, not in... Well... I don't think I've ever seen someone make this effect. This might be a fully original Ben idea. Artesian idea. maybe, just maybe. That is fascinating. We are getting a few errors there because there's not enough pixels to support everything. Oh, did the weird thing. Okay. Now the question is for the actual height. Do I, because the amplitude is now normalized, which to be honest, maybe I should have normalized previous. No, that it's fine either way. Oh, wait a minute. It takes the index and then it does that. Though the index should be fine because all that just stacks. Yeah, that should be completely fine. Some of them are just disconnecting. Because there's not enough. Whenever there's not enough range. Yeah, that's a problem. And also, maybe there's a better way of doing this besides just this bin method. Also, maybe I need to randomize the amplitude by just a little bit. Just so that we don't have that potential issue. Just add in a little bit of noise so that they'll always have something to go to. Instead of... So when there's nothing happening, it will have a bias instead of just cutting off. I think that fixes the cutoff issue. So that two values will never have the same thing. Adaptive, yeah, adaptive subdivision for sound waves. I was like, wait, is it cutting off? But then... nope, still cuts off a little bit. Oh, no. Oh, yeah, no, that is a problem. A problem I need to solve. Let's see. When there's less, we don't really run into that. That shouldn't really happen. We should not cross paths like that. Why did it do that? And they're already pre-sorted, so that should be fine as well. Maybe that's what I need to do. Maybe I just need to sort these by, sort elements, points by their position, no, their actual position. X, separate X, Y, Z. Yeah, just in case. Just in case. Yeah, that seems perfectly fine to me. That tells me that it needs to be sorted beforehand. And yeah. Oh wait, no, that needs to be like that. So yep, that's why that happens. So why does that happen? Is it just because some parts just go out of... Oh wait, maybe parts go out of bounds. Maybe I'm not reading the entire thing. Ooh, yeah, that actually, that kind of sucks. Okay. Well, the range is not the problem. I just need to make sure... I know, why does that happen? The bin split. I need to make it so that there's always one... I need to make it so that there's always at least one per bin that continues. It needs to split somehow. So either it's going to be the last one. So yeah, I need to just make it so that at least one of these will exist. Sometime, yeah, no, that... But what happens if there's only one bin? One point in the bin? I don't know, maybe I just need to make a new version that straight up does not rely on... Maybe I need to make a version that does not rely on discrete points. Because these can end. With the current version of the trailing system, once one of them ends, they can't just pick up from where they left off, or else, you know, that kind of stuff happens. So we don't need you. We never needed you. Some reason. Oh wait, maybe I had this the wrong way around. Maybe I just need to add in a little bit of jitter to the bin. Greater than. No, yeah, no. Nope. Oh, okay. So yeah, that's fine. And also I need to store the levels. How do I store, like, which one is closest to the centerpiece? And which... Yeah, how do I store which one is the original and which ones are down the chain for frequency? Do I just move them down, depending on how many bin cycles they're in? Or their position to the previous bin? Their distance to the previous bin. So if I take the previous average position, compare it to the current average position, that would be its distance to the previous bin. So if I just go and stack that up, it might work. Did I make this actually look good? Is that next up on the list? Curve to mesh UV. Wait, whoa. Ah, there. Whew, I was worried that it wasn't appearing anymore. That was scary. The node group that, yeah, is incredibly useful. Let's see. Curve line. Here we go. Set spline, radius, set curve radius, yep. Set curve normal, Z up. There we go, so now we got all that. Oh, that looks so good. Did I just create the Hun Moon? This reminded me how the Hun Moon looks. Maybe I did. Maybe I did. Well, that means I already have a shader that I can pull to make this look good. Wait. Hopefully... Oh, wait. Nope, that does not use spline stuff. Ah, so sad. Incredibly sad. New... Just make a new material. Call it a day. Emission. Transparent. Or do I want it to even be transparent? That's probably fine. LG light fall off, you know the... No, LG. Classic. Basically color dodge. I need to put back on the list, figure out how color dodge works again, because I forgot. Attribute, UV map. Separate XYZ. We're gonna do a nice little ping of pong. And then map range, smoother step, 0.5. Plug you into there. Get you to be blended. crank you up to be absurdly high, and then remember to re-enable bloom. Splitting bloom. Oh, right, the magnetic thing. Yeah, no, we just keep evolving over time. Oh, we're past 2 hours. I must be really into this. This never happens. Anymore. Let's see, do I? Oh, shoot. I might need to get going soon. Still got a little bit of time. I'll just procrastinate on, something I need to do. I could always compress the time later. Fully healthy. Do I... For you... Actually, no, No, I do need this to be lengthwise. X, yep, that's good. Your editor, let's go and use a noise texture. Let's hope that this actually aligns perfectly. Yep, seems to work. Okay, make that 2 dimensions of noise. Okay, vector math multiply. And if you're wondering why I'm not just using the regular position, it's because these will, like... Actually, wait, why? It's because when it twists... Actually, let's go and check that. When it twists, even though it's not super extreme, I am worried about that a little bit. That we go and add with unnormalized, non-normalized noise, multiply. Yeah, that's good. As long as it... Oh, right, because these go up and down, yep. That explains it. Another reason why I need to actually use the length. Comp. Always. Too bright. Way too bright. There we go. Ah, but it doesn't look that great. Why doesn't... Oh, wait, I need to go back to aces, don't I? Oh yeah, really crunch those color values. People say, oh, it's not as good, but it looks good. I'm gonna use it. Yeah, 0.25. Yeah, that's good. There we go. I could still use some work, but the main thing is that seems to be good. And then whenever any of these get to be too high, I can just spawn in like a note or something like that. Need a manipulation. Still not vibing with the colors. Ah, wait. Oh, yep, that would do it. That would do it. There we go. That significantly better. And I also need to store a random value per spline. Go and store line random. Nice random value. Okay, I will call this at the end here because we're basically done with this. Add attribute random. There we go. Multiply. There we go. You could do the Fourier transform, so you'll see the frequency distribution graph. Unfortunately, I do not have the experience to do the Fourier transform. This uses the fast Fourier transform, the sample sound node. And I do not know how to actually implement that. Would be cool, though. Has crossed my mind occasionally to, see if I can manipulate that node, like the internals of that node, and then port just the fast Fourier transform thing. I don't know what I would use it for. I have a friend who really wants it. So maybe. Uh, 1, 0. There we go. Cool, cool. Going a bit too high, though, in my opinion. 101. There we go. I'm hesitant to see how motion blur works with this. Yep, I was worried about that. Blur does not work because it keeps generating new geometry. Sad. Actually... no, it should still work because all that gets added in post. Way IDs work, it should be fine, right? Shader editor, and no, this should subtract from the adder. That will either be nothing, so it actually diminishes over time. That, yes, there we go. So the highlights stay, but just diminish. A little too high frequency for my tastes. We just need to, yeah, do something like that. And then maybe I could use the amplitude. Make these wider or narrower as well. Amplitude. Per spline. Average? Wait. Ah, field average, I forgot. Yep. And this needs to be curve of points. Yes. So the mean. Love. Oh, yes. Exactly why I intended. Let's go and divide that by a bajillion. So now I'll have the average of these. Yep. So this is just a stacked average of the parts over time. And I just remembered, since this determines how many points we have, I can just straight up determine like which part is the brightest just from this. I know how many points exist due to 5 subdivisions. So I just take the index and then divide it by however many are here. Yeah. I can do that. So we delete that, we take you. There we go, we take just the index, and we just need to take the index, divide it by however many points we have. So domain size, yeah, domain size, point cloud. And then this will just be bin intensity, bin level. Yeah, if I ping pong it, ping pong mult, that will, yeah, tell us what audio bin level layer we're in. Yep. And if I want an actual integer, I can just subtract half of the point count. Then I'll tell us the bin level. So if I were to get the attribute bin level, and needs to be ping pong, well, was ping ponged. Ah. There we go. That works. So now I can just use this to determine. There we go. There we go. Okay. There we go. Nice. We can see, well, actually, wait, that diminishes the effect because we don't actually see, actually, wait a minute. No, the recursive subdivision is happening, but just not seeing as much of it. Though that does look really cool. Looks way too even. Yeah, It's okay. It's okay. Let me go and Control Z this because I might just add these offsets together. That would be a one, or no, I could just use a mix. It's already normalized. There's 0 or, yeah. So let me go and re-enable the sound, make it so that we can actually hear it, and then see what goes on. Kind of. One, two. It is showing how split it is. I'm almost happy with the result. What? Almost happy. Almost 2 hours and 30 minutes. Too much time. Too much time spent on this. But it's because that, you know, that hour where we wasted working on that thing that didn't work. Yeah, let's not confuse these two. These are separate little lines. That's fine. Geonodes. It does look good. This divides into the parts that actually... I'm trying to make sure I wasn't just like, oh, look at this cool thing I made, and it actually exists in a much simpler way. Actually, I can't think of another place where this occurs. I should try swapping this out for another sound. Don't have any readily available. Yeah, I'll test that off stream, because again, the stream has gone on for way too long. But this is quite cool. It works quite well. If I wanted to make the motion blur work, I would probably just need to set a random ID hash, which actually, let me go and test that right now. The ID, no, Control V that. Hash value, just need to get the index and the scene time frame. Yeah, just make sure all that's hashed. Which, by the way, the frame is a float, not an integer, because there are subframes that exist. Honestly, if I were to do this accurately, speaking of that, it would have to be like this. So that actually takes the subframe into account. So does this work with motion blur now? Not really. Nope. Does not. Oh, it should, I think. Is it because of the curve to point? It might be because of the points to curves. It might be because, yeah. Okay. Well, I'll think about that. Okay. How should I upload this? Should it just be like this? Could add in some more... Okay, let's do, just for fun, a little bit of comp work. Where, you know, the thing you need to do with these is make sunbeams. Make them face just up. 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 There we go. Just like that, so it looks all nice and heavenly. There we, yep, that's how it's done. That's how it's done. And make ones that are a lot less, but go almost all the way up. There we go. And do we... If I were to make it 3D and all that. So nice, compositing in Blender, so nice. Then if I had that 0 and 0, it would make it so that it would constantly face out from center. Don't think we want that. We want it facing just up constantly. Makes it look like things are... How do I rotate? You know what I mean. It's like that. And then one more stage to the shader. I'm just going to make it absurdly bright and then fall off really fast. So it'll be like this. From 0.25 to there will be like that, and then from like 0.05, it's just going to subtract it a ton. So more like that. Then it'll be 0 and a lot. Yes, like that. Yep. Like that, so a little bit happening right there. Bit too much going on there. Just want to make sure that's like distracting, potentially. Does it look good? Yes, it does. Also, for the actual spectrogram, let's go and... Oh, spectrogram. Don't need you anymore because you were replaced. The blocks, these should all be node groups, but because I like not having multiple levels to this, I'm just like, oh yeah, no, that's fine. Now, let's set that back to 20,000 hertz. Now, I set it back to linear space so we can see all that happening. Oh wait, maybe it's just moving too fast. That's what's up. I need to just slow it down. 0.05. There we go. Much better. Oh, that looks so good, though. So, the question is, do I make it logarithmic or linear? Ooh, linear does look better. But for some reason, it's not looking like recursive subdivision. Or maybe it is? Maybe it is. Because we have how many? We have 200. Maybe I need to up it by a bit. Yeah, that looks good to me. Alright, thank you all for watching. We're at 2 hours and 30 minutes, almost exactly. Let me read the chat to make sure I'm not missing anything major. Let's see. I would like to contribute, but I can't program. I want to have an add-on that stores current node tree view pan as a bookmark. Not possible since the property view center is read-only. View center. Oh, interesting. Huh. That sounds like something that should be exposed, like where the person is actually looking at this time so that you can move where you're looking. That's a good idea. I'm not sure how much you would have to edit the source code. By the way, word to the wise chat, never plug the actual gizmo value into your bundle network because it will not properly flow back. Yeah, that makes sense. Someone's going to make a Blender audio-based digital audio workspace extension. I don't think Blender should be an audio program. Reading audio, it should be able to do that. Because look what we can do here. But, yeah, if only Python itself was node-based. Python. Let's see. Yep. It would be cool to use the sound node to drive shape keys on facial animation. That's partly what this is testing. If I can find out the distribution between the frequency distribution, I should be able to map this to sound. And if I make that work properly, I should be able to tell the phonemes from sound waves. So that is something I do want to try. This is one step in that. Though I kind of doubt if I can make it work because so many people have tried making stuff that looks good with that. And I'm not sure I would be the one to succeed. Because people who get paid to do it, who are much smarter than me, have made decent versions, but not flawless. And then the other solution would be machine learning, but that's just, you know, cheating because it's just like, oh, look at the results. Make the results. There's no algorithm to it. Or, you know what I mean. Black box. But yes, this looks good. I'm happy with this, and yeah, I think that's it for today. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you next time. Oh, in review, sample sound node is amazing, and it's in Blender 5.1. The group input on the modifier doesn't work yet for the sound, which will probably be fixed very soon. The scene time node is progressing well, even though I ran into a few little hiccups with that. Eevee is getting a lot of major changes to the ray tracing and fast GI, so that'll be a lot more stable, much more noiseless, or less noisy, and more accurate. I'm very happy about that. Many cool things are happening in Blender 5.2, and I am very happy to see how this goes. Lists might also be a part of 5.2, but I still need to check up on that. So, for the last and final time, well, I hope they don't run out of socket colors for socket types. They've kind of decided that for non-essential sockets, they'll just be brown. Right now, sound and fonts both use the same color, which I think is fine. That's like just a general outside data block type. So I think that's good. All right, see you next time. Have a good one.